All right. Time to gobble, gobble, gobble. Good to see you. Hey, Steve A. Thanks for stopping by. I know usually you don't get a chance to stay this late, but it's good to see you either way. My comments are on the top here, and I try to take a look when I get a chance to. And it's good that you were able to pick up the entire fleet. We'll be looking at a new release, which I didn't even know was coming until I think, I can't remember if the Scotch for Dummies talked about it first or if I heard it anywhere else first, but they might have been the first ones I've heard that it was coming. And I saw that they had the Lagavulin 9, and I was like, wow, that's surprising because typically Lagavulin doesn't, like, go outside of their comfort zone. Uh, Diageo, runs the show. They got their great 8 peaty, not a lot of smoke at all, but mostly peat, good breakfast stream. You've got your 12 cast strength, really nice balance of sweetness and heavy peat. Octomorish, I would say, reminiscent of a good Brooklady. Um, on the higher price end, but it is cast strength. You get what you pay for. And the classic go-to everyone loves, the 16. It's probably is their best seller, I'm guessing. I could be wrong. I'm sure someone in Diageo will probably correct me if it's not the case. And then, of course, you got your Distiller's Edition. It's hiding behind this bottle over here. Another go-to for me if I'm in the mood for a good mix of peat and sherry, emphasis on the sherry piece. And one I haven't opened up yet, but I will get to it eventually, is the Lagavulin 18 Fischl. That's not in their core like these 4 bottles are. The show's like a one-time festival in Isla, and love to take part in it at some point overseas. But that's a whole other thing. Let me make sure I turn this phone. Hopefully, it's not on. Just don't vibrate. Anyway, but the facial is not a normal thing, and this guy here is not normally what you would see, but it's good to see that there's a different choice. That's one thing I do like about Lafroig and Ardbeg, is that you have a lot to choose from depending on different casks and whatnot, and it's a pleasant surprise to get a really brand new choice, to pick from. Steve says he imagines so. He's got the 16 and 12, 27 too. Yep. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Tom. Heard about what's going on, and hope everything works out for you as quick as possible. It's even worse, I know, when you have to deal with some issues on family, and like with the holidays and whatnot. So I still hope you get to have a happy Thanksgiving and have a little Iska, some magic Iska on the side, if you know what I mean. Just talking about the different things that Diageo has for Lagavulin, and that's the first one we're going to go to. I saw the Scotch for Dummies do a review, and it was so positive that I thought, well, it's almost like a no-brainer. If you got 4 people that are willing to give it a 3.5 out of 4, you know, the odds are it's got to be pretty damn good. I have a feeling. One they didn't have it done yet. They do have it, and I'm sure they're going to do like a bunch of reviews coming up soon. I did went ahead and picked up the Talisker Select Reserve. Now that one makes me a little nervous. The reason, so we'll start with that one, is that I have got my own personal rules when it comes to Scotch, mostly with NAS Scotch. I'm not opposed to NAS Scotch. I have a lot back here, as you can tell. If it tastes good, I don't, care even if you put dye in it. I'd rather you not. But there's a lot of whiskey that is good that does have dye in it. It's just the way it is. I do like a better ABV. The mouth coat's heavier. It's got a better mouthfeel. I prefer at 46 to 48 at least if I can get it. But there are some surprising, 40, 43 sometimes that really kind of, shock you. And you think, well, I guess it doesn't taste like it's that low. But, anyway, where I was going with this is my personal rule is if it has the word reserve in the name of the whiskey or select, usually that's a red flag. Typically, I'm not saying that with this yet because we haven't sat down and really looked at it. There are a lot of founders reserves, master reserves, um, generals reserve. I mean, I've seen and heard it all with these selects and reserves, and it's like I just don't know about that. So I typically stay away. Now, but Talisker has a name that, if you're a Scotch fan like I am, especially if you love Island Campbelltown like I usually do, if you venture off in the islands, which is, a little farther north on the north of Isla in the islands area, you got your Highland Parks, you've got your Talisker. I think Arran, Arran, is in that realm. I haven't had any of their stuff yet, but Talisker is definitely, it's got a little peat, it's got a little smoke, but it has a very trademark maritime briny seashell kind of thing going on with it, which I really like. So since that's part of the name, I might give it a another look, even though it has that reserve select kind of title. So let's have a little. I would like to have a number like the 9 on the age statement. That would have been nice, but it's got to be at least a 3. So is it older than 3? I think just off the nose, I'm safe to say I think this is at least. I'm guessing, of course, I don't have any science to back this up, but I'm thinking 5 to 7 is my guess. And I'm thinking more towards. It's such a nice nose. I'm actually leaning towards more the 7 than the 5, but that's just a guess. And the reason I say that is because even though, sadly, and I do love smoke, I'm a big fan of the Dark Storm, the 10. It has a real nice smoky character along with the peat. This does have some peat there, but it's met with more of a fruit slash really nice briny maritime feel to it. And the emphasis is more on the fruit than the smoke this go around, but that's not bad. It even has it's definitely heavier than a Japanese whiskey, but it's got some Japanese-esque qualities to the nose because it has some of that, almost like a coconut tropical kind of a feel to it too. Interesting. I thought I was going to have a lot more smoke, or maybe a little more bite to it, but that's okay. I can really get in there, and it's not light. It says a 45.8%, so it's thankfully they didn't try to get you with the 40 to 43. And the nice price point on this is like 55. It's not high. This one I heard the dummies and some people are getting for like 65, and they were pricing this sucker like almost close to 80 for the Lagavulin 9. So unfortunately, I think a lot of people already know how good it is and are already raising some of the prices. But I don't know what they had to pay for the Talisker, but let me know, Scotch for Dummies. I got my coins, yes, right here. Matter of fact, I saw that, and I was wondering. I was like, I haven't challenged in a while, so number 15 in the house. We got our first fill. The Wheelhouse, of course, personal favorite because Andrew and I have really similar tastes. You gotta love the marzipan though too. That's probably my favorite catchphrase out of all of them. That's Sean's deal. Who wants Sean to pour? Of course I do, because I want a 7 finger pour. Is what I want. You got your Scotch whore. Got to do the Mark Broda thing, and I'll get to that with the Lagavulin 9. You got to do the Mark Broda slap and sniff, is what I call it. And another favorite, burnt toast from Drew. So all 15. I gotta get my own coin someday. That's just a lot of work, and I wish I could borrow one of you guys to help me out with that kind of stuff. Great to have a little Scottish Gaelic, conversation. That was fun. Throwing the market. That was one of the only things I remember when I was over in Ireland. 2007, I got to do a lot of traveled from Dublin up to Belfast, and Belfast is okay, but I really wish I had more time to go to the west, like Galway, Cork, Limerick, that kind of area, and really take in the Gaelic side of the deal. Good to see you, Swami. John Belushi in the house. Martin, dang. I appreciate the support. Give me a thumbs up before you guys leave, if you don't mind. Let's get back to the dram before we get off on tangents and stuff. Yeah, shut up, liver. That's what I say. Ooh, Swami's having an Enoch 18. I bet that's good. I've got my eye on either that, and there's a 24 out there, but it's really damn pricey, and I think 250 is a little too high. I think that's what I saw it going for. The 18, if I could find that, that would be probably a nice sweet spot. Old enough to be good, not too crazy old where you're paying out the yin yang. And everybody needs a coin. Yes, Mark's right up on that one. This is a really nice nose, though, as far as what I was thinking, because, like I said, don't use a Select Reserve name unless you have to. Back to the palate, just as good. It's really solid. It's a nice it's a really nice taste. Yes, you can taste the youth in it, but just like a Talisker 10 versus an 18, sometimes you're more in the mood for the 10 than the 18. Yeah, if you want to sit down with a really wide, complex dram, pick out notes all over the place, the 18, of course, is going to get you there a lot better than the 10. But the 10 has that nice, peaty, smoky, powerful punch, and it doesn't lack the flavor. Maybe, not as complex, but, sometimes you're just in the mood to sit down and have a really nice, just kick-ass tasting whiskey, and that's what some of these are going to get you. And this one actually is in there. I'm trying to compare it though. It's nothing like the 10 because it doesn't have the smoke. The 18, it's not like that really either because it doesn't have those floral properties and herbal properties that you get off of that. But it's a nice, I think, entry level in the door. I never had a Sky. I'm not sure how comparable it is with that, but I'm curious to see if it's similar. This definitely reminds me of like kind of almost like an Old Pulteney 12 classic, but even better about because I think the strength in this, even though it's not an H steam, it has a little more power to it. It's got that maritime goodness that I'm looking for in Talisker and an Old Pulteney. It's easy to drink, even for 45.8. Sorry, had to go digging for the number. Yeah, that's another thing that's interesting about Talisker. They always have their 45.8 or some nautical influence on their ABV. It's just funny how that goes. Oh, Glen 21 for a dram right now, man. You're going for the good stuff there, buddy. That's a nice dram. I've had the 18. I have had a 21 actually recently at a Scotch tasting, and it was good. Did I like the 21 a lot better than the 18? That's a tough one. I had to sit down, I think, with a proper bottle to really sort out the subtle differences between the two. A few years. I'm not sure if the casting's different between the 21 and one and the 18. I can't not remember. Maybe more sherry in the 21. That might kind of put it over the hump, you might say. Tom likes his gunshot like he likes his skits of humor. Yeah, you're not going to go wrong with this. Yeah, the longitude of the distillery, that makes sense. Yeah, because they do have a 51 point something. I think that's the latitude. Sometimes they go with a 51.7 or something like that with the degrees north. I can't remember the differences, but for Thanksgiving, he's doing his American stuff. Yeah, the bottle of Wow, you can't go wrong with that. Yeah, I just stuck with the Scotch tonight. I warmed up with the Balvenie 17 Doublewood, which was really good, and snuck in a little dram of this, but had a guest over and thought I'd get it some oxidation while I had a chance, and pleasantly surprised on the caramel and toffee notes with the Talisker as well. It's got my sweetness that I do enjoy. Some might find this a little sweet for them. I like it, and the only thing, I'm not going to say knock it for. The only thing I wish was a little different, we'll say. Maybe one more sip before I say it, though. It's a really nice taste. The finish is there. I'd say it's medium. It's got some nice white pepper, trademark white pepper that you expect on a Talisker. Really nice butter cookies, vanilla. I'm not getting I'm not sure if you're talking about Moose, you're talking about the lemon on this guy. Oh, you're talking about the and not never mind. I say I don't get any lemon on this, thankfully, at all. This is not a citrusy dram. This is more butter cookie, sugar cookie, seashell, white pepper. Oh my. Maybe a slight, I don't want to say truffle because that's a little way too powerful. Like a slight savory. I don't want to say mushroom either because that's a little too intense. A very slight savory, nice note to it. Is it that seashell type of goodness? And I think that's what makes this cuts that sweetness where it's not too over the top. The one thing about Talisker is they do dry me out a little bit, but this one isn't that doesn't dry. Like not as much white pepper in this one as the 10, 18 Storm, other ones like that. So this is more fruit, sweet, and buttery, which isn't bad actually. Kind of like an Island Speyside combination. So I'm down with it. Is water going to do much with this? I doubt it. I'm just going to have a little drop from the finger. I've got a pipe over there that I can pipe some water out, but it's just not. It's going to be so little. It's not even worth me getting out the pipe right now just to see if it really changes it much. Since there's not really any smoke involved, I don't think it's going to take much away that. The spice really isn't that heavy on it. The pepper, but it really tamed down the nose a bit, though, which is kind of not a good thing. I might have brought out some of the not herbal, the floral things that I was thinking about when I was thinking about the 18. Not near as intense by any means, but get some more of the. You get the honeysuckle and the heather and the straw kind of aspects to it. Come out a little more with maybe a little bit of water, but I think it was just a couple of drops, so it really didn't really add anything to it. I don't think you really need to play around with this. It's out of the bottle. It's great. I'm gonna rate this fairly high, especially for being an NAS. It's kind of funny. I've never watched Game of Thrones. A lot of people are gonna be like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" But I don't watch HBO. I'm lucky just to watch. I use Netflix and Amazon Prime and watch a lot of news and sports, on the side. And that's about all the time I have to watch anything. But they went really hardcore with the marketing, I have to say. It's thankfully though it's not like overblown. It's not crazy colors everywhere where you're kind of like, what the heck were they thinking? It's actually pretty well done, I have to say. With you have a house for every distillery and whatnot, and it kind of makes it kind of enticing to see what the show's about. See why would they pick Talisker for the Greyjoy house? It's we do not sow, whatever that means. That's it's interesting. I might have to maybe take a look. Maybe that's part of the whole deal. Hear me roar for the House of Lannister for the Lagavulin 9. It's a nice old school drawings and stuff. So thankfully, and I have not tried the White Walker since it was so. I mean, not just a Scotch for Dummies. I've heard lots of negative overall press on how Johnny Walker did the White Walker series, and I will not be trying that. I think it's just the pure bad overall deal. It's just not a doesn't seem very appealing enough to try it even. So I think I'll stay clear of that. But and I'm sure a Diageo person is going to give me a thumbs down for that. That's okay. I think they like it when I talk bad about some of the stuff that they do. But hey, we all can't be perfect. Nobody is. I'm not. Uh, even Corey was like, "No, yeah, it's pretty bad." Bottle's fun, yeah. That's the thing. It's like how collecty do you want to? I just the only reason I want all of them is because I do like the distilleries that they represent. I want my Clan Leash. I want to try that because I love Clan Leash, and I've heard Steve was talking about that. I think he liked the Clan Leash a lot. Yeah, Steve is also trying this out with me. He was. I wanted to see what he thought. Water seemed to move the smoke from the palate into the finish for me. It is eminently drinkable with no water. Yeah, I agree. I don't really think it needs a whole lot of, I wouldn't call it help, but, I don't think it's going to change it enough to really be an enhancement. And it's good. What do you think, Steve? Do you think it's worthy of? I usually do mine 5-star ratings, 0.25 increments. For me, this is pretty darn good, especially for NAS. My average would be a 3, of course. I think it's well above average. Um, it could it be better and complex, of course. Age and higher ABV and things like that would help. Not necessary though. I think it's a good 4.25 out of 5. I think it's solid. There's room for improvement. With maybe a little longer in the cask, which I'm sure this is why they are doing this because they don't have the time. They need to sell some, while they're got some in older casks and whatnot. But hopefully, they have a way to age this even more so because they could really get some interesting, really deep, dark coffee, toffee, sugary, caramely goodness, I think, out of this if it was just a little older. Um, Steve says I just added like 3 drops to a half ounce or so. Yeah, and yes, the definitely a solid dram. Yeah, I think it's a well deserved 4.25 because not a lot I would change about it. And this is the only reason this might not be an easy buy on a regular basis is because it's part of a series. And this one place I found, they wouldn't even sell these individually. They would only sell them as a set for $400. And they had the 7. Let's see if they have. Yeah, you got your Cardew, Dalwhinnie, Lagavulin, the Singleton, Clanleash. That's 5. Rollout Nagar, Talisker, and Oban. So you've got a 8th being the Owen one, and no one. And I know Steve was saying that there might have been some place in New York that had it, but I was told that they didn't even have that available yet. But you never know. Diageo might have gave a couple bottles to a couple special people that they thought were, want to give them a little something, something. I'm not sure if they do that kind of thing, but got yours 7 for less than that as a digital buys the other day. Yeah, was it less than 400? I'm just curious because that's what they price quoted me. I'm not sure. I think that's before tax, unfortunately. But I'm thinking I'm just gonna do it slowly but surely. I'll eventually get all of them. But I thought the Talisker Lagavulin, to would be a smart way to start. And then yeah, the Klein Leash is definitely on my radar. Is definitely one of the next ones, and maybe the Dalwhinnie sounds really intriguing. The Singleton, I have had one of theirs. They do the Glendolin and another distiller. They have 2 that they do. I can't remember the 2. off the top of my head, but they're decent drams. They're and same with the Roland Lochnagar. The 12 was like, interestingly enough for me to want to get a different thing. Thankfully, all these distilleries are not ones that I have tried and been like, oh, like if it was Glen Ord or if it was Glen Spey or if it was Milton Duff or some of these that you really don't see a lot of unless they got that one Flora and Fauna bottle that you might want to try. I'm glad it wasn't any of those. We'll put it that way. But the only one that makes me a little nervous, to be honest with you, is the Cardew, because the Cardew is the 12 is good, but the 18 I thought was going to be better than what I got out of it. It was almost, and maybe it's because I'm used to Isla and Campbelltown being very assertive flavors. I thought it was almost too delicate, like it was a little too fragile, but that just might be my style. It's subjective, when it comes to some people like a really faint, complex flavor, and you can get that, I think, out of the Cardew 18. But for me, it's like not only do I want it to be complex, I want it to be like in your face, pow kind of thing. Steve is saying that this Singleton is the Glendolin for the Game of Thrones. That's interesting because, yeah, I think I had a 12 and I think I liked that one pretty well. Again, for $350 after tax, wow, that's a hell of a deal. My God, man, $370 still, because I think he said $400 and I was like, I think it's a good price. I think because I think it was like 80 and 55 for just these two, but still, I mean, to have to get all at once, it's a bit much. But $370 is a hell of a price. You got a hell of a deal on that one. I wish I was in your state, but that way, unless you are in Maryland. Where are you? Which state are you in, Steve? I'm just curious. Hey, Bobby, good to see you. Those two plus the cleanliness are the three bottles I want. Yeah, that's the first three that was on my radar. Were exactly, Bobby, and I still have that. Excuse me. I still got that old Talisker, that old particular 8 back here. I'm gonna enjoy with you some point. I think maybe the next one, because I do also have to do this Lafroig hand drawn sample from Aquavite. That's going to be glorious too, and that would be good show with the Talisker 8 and the Lafroig cask deal. That's going to be nice. I can't wait to get into those two. Damn, I love whiskey. All right, let's get back to the goods here. But so solid, yeah. I mean, and I wanted to start with this Talisker first because this Lagavulin, it's a smoky dude. It's like freaking. As soon as I poured it, and I got a little bit of little spillage on the old hand, and I thought, got to do the Mark Broda slap and sniff. And when I did that, I was like, wow, this is really, really reminiscent to the 16. It's nothing like the 8 to me. This is what I'm getting from it. The 8 is a very it's very nicely young peat, heavily peated, but there's not a lot of smoke in the 8 to me. I thought it was more like a nice breakfast ham with toast, little burnt toast, but in a good way. Really solid. You can get it usually for $70, I think, 60 to 70, nicely priced. Pretty solid. I'm glad that they released it as part of their core because at first it was hard to find, but now you can pretty much usually get it anywhere. And then the 16 was the first Lagavulin I ever had, and it's like, wow, for 16 years, man. For I think it's like usually goes for $80. You can it's very well typically priced. You can get it down to 70 if you're lucky. And some Costco people in some states can get it for 50 to 60, which is a steal. And if you're in one of those states, you should buy every bottle they've got because that stuff is like just. I mean, it's just so good, and the finish is one of the longest finishes on any Scotch I've ever had. One of my apps. It's definitely my top 3 of all Scotch I've ever had, and it was one of the first, and it'll still, I have a feeling, always be in my top 3. The 16. So when I got the nose on this, I was like, wow. Let me have a little quick. Sorry about that. Excuse the sniffer. Can't have any obstacles. Oh man, you get this really nice smoke melded with the peat, like you get on the 16, and some sweetness. And this also, and I'm not sure if it's because it's part of the same series or how they did it. There's no information I could find, and if you guys know, please put it in the in the chat or the comments after the fact. But someone asked me a question earlier. I'm sorry I missed it. I'm going back in the comments to see if I could find it. It was from John, I think, or was it? Sorry, I'm just going back real fast. Oh, Steve's from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay, yeah, that's a tough one. The Total Wine for the buys in Minnesota. Okay, Total Wine is thankfully pretty much everywhere. Yeah, 7 for less than that in digital buys the other day. Well, I guess 4 is way too much for what they're asking. Then I guess that's why they didn't want to sell it as individuals, and that's just crazy. Oh, John asked if I had the Glengoyne 17. I'm trying to let me go back and think. I had the 10, the 12, the 15, the 17 or 18. I'm trying to remember which one was it. I think it was the 18, my friend. I have not had the 17. I think, if I remember correctly, is the older version. And then they started they didn't selling that anymore. And then they went to the 18, and the 18 is solid. I still have a little bit left, and I'm going to definitely sip that slowly. I would love to try the older 17, but I have not had a chance to partake yet. Hopefully, I'll be lucky enough to find an old bottle somewhere on a dusty shelf sitting. But we'll see how lucky I can get. 353 after tax for the first 7. That's a great deal. It's too bad I had to ship it unless I got it in Laurel. I think Laurel might have it. There's a Total Wine in my state, in the city of Laurel, but I'll have to see about that. But now that I've got a couple bottles, now that I kind of don't mind getting them. But 353 altogether for 7 is really a great price. Ooh. Gawkin says, Laga 16 on my short list for the winter. Glad to hear good things. Is chill filtered. How about the affected? Gawkin, I don't think that you'll have any. I mean, the 16 being chill filtered, that's surprising, to be honest with you. But I'm not gonna say that either way. Let's see if I see anything. I don't think I see anything on here about that. But being 43% is probably why they do it. It is a little lower ABV than 46. The 8 is 48, so it is a higher ABV. They probably don't bother with chill filter on that. I think they just do it because some people do like to add ice, and they don't want it to have that cloudy, so-called dirty effect. As far as taste-wise goes, I think that I think I think it'll be in perfect shape. Whether or what I don't think it really matters on the 16 being chill filtered. Of course, everyone wants their whiskey to be as much in a natural state as that possibly can. That's why you don't want that, and you don't want coloring. But does it destroy it? Not even close, and it's still good. Every time I've had the Lagavulin 16, it's always been pretty solidly consistent too. You don't get a lot of crazy bottling inconsistencies as you get with other distilleries, which I'm not going to go into all of them, but you know what I'm talking about. The pre-tax suggested price is $345 for 7. Wow, well that I would jump all over that. Then I don't know where he came up with 400. Man, that's crazy talk. Then TW intentionally lost money in Kentucky to make a presence known. But what their bottling is Kalila. Oh yeah, in Port-Said. think that's what you're talking about. Yeah, Portishead is Kalila. That is correct, and I'm not quite sure why they do it that way, other than maybe do experiments without affecting the Kalila name. If someone's from Diageo and is not bound by some NDA and can talk about it, I'd really like to know if that's the case. But if if I was Diageo and I wanted to do some experimentations in a brand that was well established, that was well known, that I didn't want to, muck with the 12 and the 18 and the Distillers Edition and what they are known for, even outside of independent bottling, I would probably give it some sort of twist name where it's not connected and people really didn't know about it. But anyway, back to the goods. It's just so interesting how, yes, you can tell it's younger than the 16 in the nose as far as the overall brightness in it. A little younger, but it's a really nice, even that, now I've let it sit out and air out for a little longer than I usually do. I'm even getting maybe even banana in there. Some bubble gum like sweetness, like cotton candy sweetness, kind of reminiscent of Lagavulin 12. Not near as high because it's not cast strength, but it's complex for a 9-year-old. It really is. I'm surprised how they did it. 46%. So also it's a little bump up from the 16 ABV, which is kind of a nice peppy step in it. And that might be what helps it stand apart from the 8 and the 16. And I think it stands on its own, even with just the nose. I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Offerman sits down with a 9 for his sit down Thanksgiving thing. I didn't watch it. I'm not sure if he did one this year, but if he sits down with a dram and takes his sweet time and drinks it, I bet you he gets a 9 out this year. Yeah, the bottle elements of Isle. I've seen that before somewhere. Good idea, Daniel, on that one. It's not everywhere, but I have seen that on occasions, being and some being Lagavulin, some being Kalilas, and different Isla options out there for that elements of Isla. Great jam for 9 years. Yeah, it's unbelievable that I'm like, how did they do this? And what I was going, I might not have touched on this earlier, but I meant to talk about the maritime notes in this are like a Talisker. It's a fresh glass, totally different. Didn't have any connection, even with the palate cleanser being totally separate. On the nose, you really get some really nice Talisker-esque, Old Pulteney-esque maritime seashell islands type of Scotch notes on it. Really well done. You don't need water on this either. It's really pretty perfect at 46. Could it use a couple more percent ABV? Yes, I think it could be 48. I think that would have been spot on. But I'm not going to complain about that, really. It's really funny because it's like if you took the Talisker Select Reserve and you smoked it heavily and also gave it maybe a little bit more peat. That's what this is like to me. It's very much different than the 8 most. It's not even the same family. I mean, it is a Lagavulin, of course, but this is not the 8 one more year. This is a different cask. This has got sherry in it, and I don't think the 8 has sherry. This has definitely got sherry of some sort in here. I can't prove it. I don't have any notes that tells me what kind of cask they use. But if I had to take a guess, this is more of like a 16, but with younger peat and somehow they gave it more of a Talisker type of maritime feel, Old Pulteney kind of feel to it. That's what it's like if you took maybe like an Old Pulteney 12 and a Talisker 10. I'm not sure about the percentages yet, and a Lagavulin 16, and put them together. Somehow, you might be able to blend it to make it taste like this. Those are the whiskey foundations I would use to try to rebuild it if I had a way. Of course, it wouldn't be cost effective because you're taking the $80 bottle of the 16. I'm not sure what the Old Pulteney 12 probably goes by now. It's probably at least 60, 55 to 60. And then you also need a bottle of Talisker 10, which is at least probably 60. So I don't know. It's interesting though. Really great taste. It's almost got some like sassafras root beer on the finish. Now, it might not be, I'm trying to debate on whether I like the finish on the 16 better than this or not. It's just different. I think the length is there. It has more bacon notes in the nose than it does the palate. Like the 16 still has the bacony pork notes on the finish. This is more of a fruit slash like creme brulee, custard, but really nice smoke on the back too. Man, it's one in itself. I can't really compare this to the 8 or even, I mean, out of the 3 in the core, not even talking about the distiller's edition because it's kind of like in a class of its own. Out of the 3 in the core, I think it's closer to the 16, but it's like if you took the 16 and somehow got some Talisker stuff in it, I think that's the only way I think the easiest way I can explain it. Steve, are you getting the same kind of maritime feel from it at all? Are you an Old Pulteney fan? Do you kind of have that kind of vibe with this particular dram? I'm just curious. I'd say this is at least a medium, if not a long finish on this too. I'm curious to see if you think it's yeah, it's almost like a totally new creation. I think it's very well worth if you could find it between 65 and 80. I think it's well worth it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think the bottle will unfortunately probably go fast because you will want to drink it more than anything else you've got, more than likely for quite a while. I am going to enjoy this Talisker though too for similar reasons. I was a little heavier with my pours on the Lagavulin 9. I think that's why that's not as much left on that one. But they're both good. I both recommend. On this one, on a rating, like a 5-star scale, I'm gonna have to say is a little higher, only because I love the smoke that this brings, and you don't lose the fruity aspects of it. The sweetness is there. The finish is longer. It does have the age statement on it. It's a little more, not a huge difference, but enough to make a statement. So this is going to be a 4.5, almost a 4.75. It's really damn nice. I mean, I never had a Lagavulin 21 or 25, but that's probably, I mean, you lose some peat, of course, when you get on these higher ages. Like, I'm not a huge fan of a 427 because the peat is kind of missing. The 18, I think, is perfect because it's got the refinement, but you don't lose the peat. So I'm thinking that an 18, like official 18, is probably where they're hitting the perfection up to around 21, 25 for Lagavulin. But this is, I mean, for its age, is surprising because it tastes a lot older. It tastes like a 15. If they put a 15 number on there or 16, I would have not been surprised. Do I like it better than the 16? It's a tough call because there are things I like about it. If I'm in the mood for more maritime stuff, I'm going to go for this bottle before the 16. Even though there is some of that in the 16, it's not as heavy. With this, I am going to go for this a lot. I think just because my personal taste, I like this a lot better than the 8. I'm just not a fan of just straightforward young peat that doesn't have anything else to, give me some sherry, give me a cask influence, give me something else to make it interesting. Not to say that some straightforward bourbon, oaky, peaty stuff isn't good. I mean, there are some like that out there, but I just prefer a little bit of something else to give it some character. And I think that's what makes this even better than the core than the 8. I hope that they find a way, if you just want to call it 9, I mean, that works. I would maybe talk about somehow, and they honestly do not give you. Let me see. They it's funny because they talk about the the Game of Thrones, more on the bottle when it comes to like the Lannisters' rise to the Iron Throne, and as much like Lagavulin's rise, they talk about it's been 200 years in the making, and the intense smoky flavor, and I mean they talk a little bit about it, but they don't talk about how what cask, how long in each one, if they had a bourbon and they had a sherry, like what type, is it hogshead, is it first fill, is it refill. They don't talk about any of that, and I would love to have that information on the can, but they don't have it. So if you do somehow find a way, which I hope you do, Diageo, if you're out there, if you find a way to make this more into your core lineup, I think it would sell well. I think it's great, but I would not just call it 9. I would say Lagavulin 9 sherry refill. Now, refill is probably not the best word to use for marketing. If you can't say first fill, I know it's kind of tough to be more descriptive. Maybe Lagavulin 9 sherry cask, or Lagavulin 9 bourbon and sherry cask, whatever. Give me a little hint of what else is in it, and that'll also let people know that this is nothing like the 8, nothing like the other ones. But you could just go with a 9. Hell, I mean, it's 8, 9, 12, 16. Just keep it simple. Maybe sometimes marketing is more effective that way. You just give people a number and let them run with it themselves to figure out what the hell's going on. Steve says definitely getting a bit of salt water. Yes, very decent finish, lingering just long enough. Yeah, probably is pretty blasted by this point though. I'm gonna grab another bottles of Lagavulin tomorrow. Oh wow, if they said this was 14 instead of 9, I wouldn't have doubted it a minute. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. It's almost like I mean, even 16, it's close. Yeah, I guess 14 is probably a good number to pick of what it tastes like. It tastes like a 16 that's maybe a little younger, but not by much, and has a lot more of that briny maritime stuff going on with it. Um, I bet there's a lot of older 14 to 17-year stuff in here and a similar amount of 9-year. Yeah, maybe that's the thing. I can only call it 9 because that was the youngest of the stuff that they put. But there has got to be something else in here that's really bringing it all together. Light brings the muscle. If they are ranked best of the set, they will go up the street credit even more. Yeah. Pretty much a battle between the Lagavulin 9 and the Kleinleash. Haven't tried the not Lagar yet, but out of the other 6 to contention, yeah. I tell you what, this is nothing to sneeze at either. This Talisker was really good. And if you're not, I mean, I'm a fan of smoke, so it doesn't bother me either way. But sometimes I'm not in the mood, maybe so much for so much smoke. If I want like a nice fruity butter sugar cookie kind of dram and still have my maritime flavors going on, this is really damn good. I have to say, and I don't just throw 4.25s out there. Like I have, like the Royal Lotnagar, like the basic 12. I think I might have gave it a 3 or 3.25. There's lots of like Old Pulteney 12. That's pretty much a 3 to 3.25. Not really, didn't really stand out very much. This has really got some nice sweetness to it, and if you do like a sweet dram, the Talisker is nothing to pass over. I might like the Lagavulin a little more, but it's literally a 4.5 versus a 4.25. It's pretty damn close in my opinion. I think it's solid. Yeah, yeah, they're both great. I can't wait to try that Clanleaf then. If you're already really pretty much already on board about liking it as much as the other one. Right back to mine. Finish that Talisker. Yeah, I think that's going to be my next two. I'll probably pick is the definitely going to do the Clanlish. I think I might do the Dalwhinnie because the only Dalwhinnie I've had is the 12. And it's funny because whenever you see these diagrams about Scotch, and I started out with Isla heavy stuff. I love Ugadal, Corryvrecken from Ardbeg. I love the Lefroy, the quarter cast, the cast strength 10. I like punchy, smoky, peaty goodness, right? So, of course, when I look at a diagram and I see Dalwhinnie is like the opposite end of the spectrum, way over here somewhere, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be really, light. It's not going to have a lot of flavor. I'm not going to be happy with it. It's kind of sad because I kind of, in my mind, I was pushing it to the side thinking, that's not going to be for me. I need to stick with a Abelauer, Glendronach, the heavier flavors, the heavy hitters, And thank goodness that I was in this group where we were trying every distillery, and Dalwhinnie came up to bat, and someone got the 12, and poured myself a dram. I tell you what, man, I had like this. I want to call it yacht rock. It was like that old song "Southern Cross" by Crosby, Stills and Nash. That song would play in my head every time I drink it because I could just picture it's like the perfect summer, spring Scotch. Not like because it's light, but even though it's on the lighter end, it's a Highland. It's got some really nice intense flavor to it. It's solid. It had some of these nice sweet notes that this one had. It didn't have the maritime stuff to me, but it did have what it lacked in that. It did have that sweetness, butter cookie, really nice oily, buttery mouth coat. It was on a viscous wise. It was heavier than a thin. It wasn't a thin whiskey, thankfully, and it had minus the maritime, but it also had a lot of like nice floral properties that were not earthy herbal, but they were really nice, flowery things that I normally wouldn't like, but it melded well together. And Delany it's a Christopher Cross of Scotch. But it's good. It's like I can appreciate it. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be um, dark, thicky, syrupy to be really well done and pleasant and still have a punch of flavor. And that's what Dalwhinnie had for me, just the 12. So I'm looking forward to doing the Distillers Edition at some point. And I think they called it Winter's Frost. It had a strange name because when I saw Winter's Frost or whatever they called it, I had White Walker on the mind. I was like, oh, I don't know about that. So I got John singing I'm sorry, you're right, Mose. It's the 15. I keep saying 12. Their go-to is the 15. My bad. Thanks for the correction. I had a feeling I was missing something there. It's the 15 because that's their that's sorry. Now John's got the damn song in my head. That's just funny. The Delany 15, and it's not a bad price, especially for a 15-year-old too. It's kind of like a Lagavulin 16. It's a nice 55, 60, sometimes maybe as high as 70, but usually pretty well priced Scotch for 15 and well done. But Winter's Frost, man, I don't know. Anybody try that yet? And if you did, yeah. If you have tried the Winter's Frost Delany, let me know. I'm just curious of what you thought about it. If you don't catch it now, shoot me in the comments later on and tell me if you thought it was, how good or bad or, indifferent you were about it. Hopefully it's a good one because that's one of those stories that was a pleasant surprise. Can't believe he's got the damn songs in my head. Now I got Arthur's theme in my head. Damn you, John Belushi. Oh gosh, now I feel old. Oh, Steve's already tried it. It's decent, light, pretty easy drinking. Have you had the Delany 15? And if you've had, how compare the two together for me, just to give me an idea of where they went with the Winter's Frost versus their standard 15. I'm just curious. Steve says basically all these have been pretty good. The Cleanliness and Line are really good though. Huh. Hey Stephen, happy Turkey Day, my friend. Did you ever get a chance to pop open that what did I send you? Oh, the Lagavulin 18. Just talking about that. I was curious if you've what you thought about that. Yeah, this is this is a gift from a friend. It reminds me of the Joy Division days. Back with old rest in peace Ian Curtis was at the helm, and I loved his baritone vocals. He was a strange cat, but he was pretty cool. Anyway, Calkins says one of my main classmates of Temple University did a great music video to Christopher Cross Sailing for Class project. Oh wow, he's a subliminal ninja. That's true. You have the whole album in LSD? Seriously? No way. I can't believe that. I mean, man, not yet, brother. Been out of town this past week. That's okay, Steve. Well, I haven't popped it open yet. I might do it for Christmas. I'm debating on when to dive into the Lagavulin 18s. I gotta try it. I've been putting it off, and I wanted to make it something special, but I gotta do it at some point, don't I? I mean, I gotta drink it. Jaws shirt. Yeah, it's kind of has that. Yeah, it's kind of like if you took Jaws and Joy Division's like first album and melded it together. I guess is what it reminds me of. But yeah, I'll have to. Man, I can't get over that Ardbeg area based man. That thing was freaking just. That was one of the best Ardbegs I've ever had, and I've had, as you could tell, quite a few. Only thing I'm missing is Supernova, Galileo, Serendipity, Alligator, Lord of the Owls. That would be awesome. The original Kildalton from 1980, which I'll probably never get to try. Unpeated. I don't know if Ardbeg would ever do an unpeated well. It'd be worth a try though once. I love this Kildalton. No, that was good. 2014 version. Trying to think of any of the Ardbegs I'm missing. I think that was most of them, though. But, oh, man, that Aaron Base was just unreal, and I really appreciate the deal on that. I had to get up for a whiskey raffle at 7 a.m. Holy moly, man. Well, good luck in the raffle. Are you shooting for something in particular, Stephen? I'm just curious if you've got an eye on a particular bottle. So he revealed that he was trying super hard to quality asset. Oh gosh, that's impressive. Those songs are good. It just, I mean, I don't have anything against the Trip thing because I'm a huge, Beatles fan, and we all know what they were up to with Sergeant Pepper and Magical Mystery Tour in that period. That's which is probably my favorite, but with Christopher Cross, that's kind of surprising. But hey, whatever floats your boat. And oh, it's a Pappy lottery at Kroger in Kentucky. Oh wow, is that what you're going for, Steven? That's kind of crazy. I've had a 23, and I don't know, man. I just don't see the crazy kill each other appeal over that. I mean, it's okay, but damn, I was lucky to get it when it was still $100 a bottle. That's why I'm kind of like, I just can't believe people are spending $4 grand for a freaking bottle of 23-year-old, wheat, basically bourbon. It's I don't know. It's wild. I went to 15, huh? Of the 20. Yeah. Well, good luck to you, John, if that's what you're shooting for. Uh, yeah, if I was a bourbon fan, I probably would be into it a lot more. My mom was asking me to try to find Elmer T. Lee somewhere, and I looked in here in Maryland. I didn't see it anywhere. I looked on winesearcher.com even. I couldn't find hardly any of it unless it was like $150, $200 a bottle. And she was like, that's just too high. So, yeah, Pappy and Weller, pretty similar. But she said that the Elmer T. Lee was probably, same kind of thing, just as good, but harder to find now because everyone is getting on the bourbon bandwagon, and it's just hard to find any of these really good ones, Blanton's, and I think they're now doing like the 17, is it 62, 92? I can't remember the year. That's like the go-to bottle. John's got several bottles of them. Ooh. You want to part with one of those, John? I know my stepfather, Mr. Pappy Van Dave, would be really happy if I could find him a bottle of that somehow. I'm not sure what they're going for, but because it's hard to find them even aftermarket. But maybe I'll have to see. Oh, Whiskey Shenanigans in Ellicott City. Oh, you probably know about Petite Cellars, man. That's like my go-to place I go to up there. That's where I get my scotch. I'm in Severna Park, which is about 8 miles north of Annapolis. If you drew a triangle between Baltimore, D.C., and Annapolis, I'm between Baltimore and Annapolis, off Ritchie Highway, basically Highway number 2, I think it's called. So yeah, you're pretty damn close. We'll have to have a dram, and let me know if you're around sometime. You're more than welcome to stop by, and we'll have to maybe break something open. Nice score, JB. Oh wow, I like Rock Hill Farms better. I misspoke. It's not a raffle, but first come first serve. All the bourbon tasters are camping out for tonight for the Pappy and the BTAC. I'll get there and shooting for it. Yama 18. Now you're talking, Steven. That's my kind of dram right there. Oh, I wish you luck on that because that's one I have not tried. I've had the Hibiki 21. I've had the some really nice. I've had the Nika Takasaru 21, but I've never had a Yama 18 before. That's on my to-do list. That's crazy. Well, that's cool, the Shenanigans, that you're that close. I didn't know you were in Ellicott City. That's crazy. But yeah, Pine Orchard Liquors. Okay, I'll have to try that because I was trying to find. I mean, Petite Cellars is a bit of a drive for me. It's about a half hour, but if I could save $20 per bottle versus Dawson's here is like kind of pricey. It's worth the drive sometimes. So I'll have to let me show this if it lets me. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll have to. I'll shoot you an email and see if I can maybe work something out with you because I'm not sure what they're willing to spend, but maybe if you're not looking to make a lot off the bottle, maybe I can get some from you somehow. I'm not sure where you are state-wise, but hopefully between here and Kentucky, not far. Because if you're in like the West, man, it's gonna be a bitch. It's like 10 minutes closer. Yeah. Okay. I'll have to look for Pine Orchard. I've heard that name somewhere. I've never been there though. I'll have to see. Oh, you're in Kentucky. Oh, okay. Well, that makes it even easier. In the same state, at least. Um, yeah. My family's all in Louisville. Are you close to Louisville? I'm just curious. Or are you in like Eastern or Western? If you're in Louisville, that makes it extremely easy. Did you buy a bunch when it was readily available and you just kind of sat on it and you still have it? Or I want to buy all the Joseph Magnus cigar blend. I'll try to see if I can find something for you. You never know, I might get lucky. Oh, you were in Louisville. Okay, well, hell. Okay, well, that's surprising, but in the Highlands. Well, that's weird. That so is my people are there too. That's scary. Are you Dave in disguise there, John? It's released in DC. Send me okay, Jose Magnus cigar blend. I gotta try to remember that. The email address is telex@outlook.com. TLEX@outlook.com. Send me that in an email so I don't forget, and I'll see if I can dig up that Jose Magnus cigar blend and see if I can find something like that for you. That's just so weird that you're in the Highlands, South Bars. Yeah, so are my parents. That's really strange. That's kind of scary. They live over off of oh man, Bonnycastle and that area. Yeah, that's the one. That's so funny. Cigar blend is nice. Tell us if you can find a sample of it. Okay, I'll see what I can do. That's that's pretty wild, man. If you're like down the street from them, I'm just gonna laugh. That's just crazy. I'm surprised they're not around. Actually, Mom and Dave were. That's weird. That's crazy. Um, they were. I was talking to Mom and Dave earlier, just chatting, and I thought they might like come and chat, but they're probably um, I had to go to sleep earlier. Whatever. They'll probably watch that tomorrow or something. Woodford Place. Woodford Place. I don't have those streets memorized. I just I just know that yeah, it's like that whole Seneca Gardens area. I think is what it's called. I can't remember the proper name of that neighborhood, but I think it's something like that. So that's just freaky. Well, if I'm in town, which I do plan on coming in home for Christmas, I might have to stop off and have a dram with you or something. That would be funny. Um, she asked me if we were going to do a show, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure if how easy it'll be to do a show, but maybe we could do a show just off the wall. It doesn't have to be on Christmas. It could be like a day or two before. That'd be so funny. Normandy Village. That sounds familiar. Yeah, you must be like right around the corner from them. That's so freaking weird. That's so crazy. Um, Whiskey Shenanigans says Pine Oak Sugar is better price wise, most petite stores, but doesn't have as much extreme. Yeah, that's what I like about Petite, man. They have so much there that you could just like, I could just look for days in their place and just scour everywhere. Have a look from Westport Whiskey and Wine. Okay. Westport Whiskey and Wine. That sounds like that's a nice name. Yeah, that's one thing I'll have to do when I get into back because that's where I'm originally from is Louisville. That's so weird. I'll have to try to find a couple stores and see if they have anything decent. That'll be one I'll have to put on the radar. That Westport one. See, maybe I'll get lucky and find a decent bottle or something. But I gotta be careful because I'm gonna be going here to New York in December the 4th. Yeah, we'll do a live stream. That'd be cool. Um, on December the 4th, I'm going up to New York, hang out with Scotch for Dummies, KB, Bob H. I don't know about if anyone else is going to be up there around then, but just it's unfortunately going to be going up for the day. But hopefully, have time to share some bottles and try some different things on the side. But yeah, I'll have to probably recuperate from the. Thankfully, I'll have a couple weeks before Christmas to recuperate from that trip. I might have a dry week before before I come down. Then that'd be cool. Have to. That'll be the plan. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I think that these two were solid, good, better than good. I have to give it a great. Really, I'm not. I'm not. I don't have any remorse, any buyer's remorse in either one, and both I like almost equally for just different flavor profiles, different reasons. Both solid. Thank God it was a disappointment because after I heard all the really scary White Walker stories, I was kind of like, ooh man, what am I getting myself into here? But thankfully, Scotch for Dummies had a good you know review on that first one that made me think, well, do I have a favorite bottle of all? Oh God, Shenanigans, man. That's a tough one. That's really tough. I'll give you a quick rundown. Like for Ardbeg, my favorite bottle is the Dark Cove Committee release. For Lafroig, the 18 tied with the Carriages 2013 Portwood. Bowmore, I'm still looking. I'm not going to pick a favorite with them because they're kind of they're just not been my cup of tea lately. A little too thin on the mouth coat for me. Kilhoman is where it's at. I love Kilhoman. The best one for me is the red wine cast strength. I love that tied with the original cast strength. Those are my and for the Bunnahabhain, the 12 is fantastic by itself, but the Ernagrena, it's a red wine influence cask, which I really love. As you can tell, the theme just keeps going. That's really good too. But the Bunnahabhain 12 is actually probably my tied with this as far as my favorite. There's other ones too, but those are like Bobbler 99. I love it. I haven't had anything else by them, but that's my favorite space side. As far as like Cherry Bombs, Abelour Abana, certain batches though, is really damn good. I love the new Highland Park Dark. That's my favorite Highland Park of all of them I've had. I've had Fire and Ice and a lot of the 25 is damn good too. It's like a tropical 18. So 25 type of dark probably. Love the Kilkerran 12. That's an easy one. Talisker 10 is probably my favorite Talisker next to the Dark Storm. I think those two are really damn good. Springbank, the 12 Burgundy is one of my favorite scotches of all time. Even the Classic 10 is damn good. The Little Barley wasn't bad. I just have to be in the mood for something that's just so straightforward. It's a great bourbon, bourbon oaky barley scotch, but it's just there's no sherry involved with it. There's nothing else that I don't know. I have to be in the mood for that. I mean, I think that one might have actually had sherry, or that might have been the one that didn't have. I can't remember. One of the 10, like there was a 10, 11, and 16. The 10, I think, was just straightforward. The 11, I think, was the one that had the sherry. I can't remember though. I might be mixing those two up, but I think and the 12's cast strength. I mean, as far as core, easy to get because the 12 Burgundy is hard to find, but the cast strength 12 Springbank is definitely my top. And I can keep going, like the Lacheg 18's fantastic. But those are my favorites, just off the top of my head. Deanston 18, I haven't had the 20 yet. I so want to try that 20PX. That would be, I think, in my top, definitely. Guckinless in Brooklyn. Oh yeah, You'll have we'll have to meet up. I get in at noon on the 4th, Gawkin. So I will try to write me an email. Give me your number, telex at outlook.com, and maybe I give you a call and let you know when we're going to meet up and try to get everyone to the same place, same time if I can, if you're going to be in that area. Cilantro Steven, and yeah, Kilhoman is so damn good. It's one of my favorites. And Moncure Bay, yeah, that's one I don't actually have up here, which is kind of crazy. I do like it, but I was in the Sauternes and the Snag, Loch Gorham, and I had a chance to try their 2008 vintage, which was, and it's so different. None of them are anything alike, but they're all good. That's what's great about a Kilhoman. So you're just doing the day trip for NYC Whiskey Fest. Yeah, pretty much. Getting there about noon. I'll have some time to hang out and hopefully try a couple bottles, special ones. I'm going to bring a Highland Park 25 cast strength exclusive malts with me, and hopefully have a couple people to trade a couple drams with. Then go to the fest. Fest stops promptly, supposedly at 9:30. I'm sure I'll still be wanting to have a little fun, so hopefully still be up for a while. Do have to leave tomorrow after checkout, but I'm going to make the most of it. And in touch with the Scotch dummies with me at the bar. Yeah, that'd be cool. I won't be able to get there on Monday, unfortunately, but I will be there on Tuesday to hang and hopefully do some stuff before it starts at 5:30. Because if I get in at noon, hopefully if my train gets there on time, trains are kind of iffy. I gave myself a little wiggle room in case it's an hour or two late. But even if I get there at 1 or 2, I'll have plenty of time before 5 to get going. I'm staying right down the street from the. I'm not staying at the Marriott, but I'm staying right down the street at the same place that the Scotch for Dummies are staying. So it should be. I forgot the name of it, to be honest with you, but let me see if there's an easy way to find it. 1 second. It should be. Let's see. Fast hotels. I think I got it through hotels.com. Salisbury Hotel, 123 57th Street is where we're staying. So that should be pretty good. I hope that's the plan. I just completely screwed up my the chat. So let me see if I can find it without. There we go. Yeah, on Tuesday, Seafire Grill, the Maxwell. I haven't thought about I haven't thought about where to eat at all. That's completely. I mean, they do have food at the actual place, and it goes from 5:30 to 9:30. So we'll have to eat a little bit, but I want some food after it's over. Probably, hell yeah, because I'm not much of an eater while I'm trying to taste things. I don't want a bunch of influence on my palate while I'm trying to sort out stuff. So I probably will have a late dinner as well as the regular dinner, or maybe I should eat right beforehand. Maybe have an early dinner like at 5. Well, that's 5 is when you're supposed to get in line to do the thing. So maybe an early dinner like at 4:30. 4:30 might be a good dinner time. Maybe like a light lunch, heavy dinner early, 4:30. That'll tide me over until 9:30, 10, and then maybe just have a dessert or something. we'll have to see, but I'll figure out something. And yeah, if any of you guys are around, definitely give me an email, let me know, and be happy to uh, have a little party or something while we're down there. Yeah, it's really close to everything. I got the scoop from Bob H and KB on where to stay, so it should be pretty decent. As far as because the marquee, the Marriott Marquis wanted some crazy money for night. I think it was like $400 per night, and this place is more like $200, so it's a lot easier to swallow when it came to the hotel cost. So, and I don't think it's like run down or bad or anything. So I'll have to see. Shot you an email about the ELT. Cool. Okay. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. Well, Solange Vaughn, and thanks for kicking around, gawking. I'll have to hopefully see you there, John and Moose and anyone else. Whiskey Shenanigans. We'll have to hang out here locally at some point. And yeah, telex.com. That's perfect. Yeah. So I'll take a look at that later on. And thanks so much for stopping by. Give me a thumbs up if you don't mind before you go. If you haven't already, subscribe if you don't mind. If you haven't already. And hopefully see you guys sooner rather than later. It's a normal Thursday. Might have maybe an option to do something Saturday, Sunday, or something, but I don't know. Yeah, I always love the discussion with you guys, and anytime I get a chance to do it, it's part of the fun of sharing and stuff. It's like the next best thing. If you can't go to a bar and do it with your friends that have similar tastes. Not a flipper tater bish. I'm not sure what that is. What's a flipper tater bish? Thanks so much, Most, for the Twitter support. I do plan on it's funny because I was going to post some stuff on Instagram, but they want everything to be really short, concise, video-wise, so I didn't pull that trigger yet. Might try to have more of a presence on there at some point, but it's hard enough just to keep up with this weekly thing and for fun and whatnot. Happy gobble gobble. I'll see you guys next time.